on Skype in the Classroom, we'll meet Cressida Cowell, the author and illustrator of the How to Train Your Dragon series, an adventurous tale of an unlikely hero which has sparked 12 books, 3 movies, and millions of young dragon fans around the world. We'll learn how creativity, imagination, and magic go hand in hand, and how you can use details to bring your own stories and characters to life. So fire up your dragons. We're about to meet the author and illustrator.
Hello from Egypt.
Hello from Vietnam.
Hello from India.
Hello from Indiana in the United States.
Hello from Nigeria.
Hola from Puerto Rico.
Hi from Greece.
Hello from Canada.
Hello from the Microsoft office in London, and welcome to Skype in the Classroom. I'm your host, Shannon McClintock Miller. I'm a teacher librarian and a Skype master teacher from Van Meter, Iowa in the United States. Some of the teachers watching may know me from my blog, The Library Voice. How many of you watching love books? I know I do. I especially love stories that are loaded with adventures, great characters, and epic journeys. I am a big fan of today's author and illustrator whose How to Train Your Dragon series and the new Wizard of the Once series transport me into magical new worlds. In case you haven't been introduced to these amazing stories and characters, let's take a quick look at the DreamWorks movie adaptation of How to Train Your Dragon. Meet Hiccup, his dragon Toothless, and some of our favorite Viking characters.
This is Berk, son. It was the home of your grandparents and their grandparents before them. But out there, beyond the edge of the world, lies the home of the dragons. And I believe it's your destiny to one day find this hidden world.
You do know my leg isn't a chew toy, don't you? Is this what you want? Yeah, go get it. How am I supposed to get down? Hey, bud, wait up.
Well, I started out all alone.
He's not the only one.
I'm learning to fly.
Another night fury.
But I ain't got wings.
It's more like a bright
A light fury.
Yeah, yours is better, probably.
Well, the good old days.
There is an armada with enough cages for all of our dragons.
May not return.
This is a new kind of enemy. We need to find the hidden world.
I will destroy everything you love.
Toothless, no!
The sea may burn.
You're nothing without your dragon.
If Grimmel succeeds, there won't be any dragons left. And it's up to us to put an end to it.
So, what are you gonna do about it?
Suit up, gang. We have one shot at this. You brought a baby to a battle? I couldn't find a sitter. The hidden world. It really does exist.
Now that's a king.
You're right, bud. It's time.
Wasn't that magical? One of the things I love about the How to Train Your Dragon books is how all of the details come alive and the amount of time I can spend with the characters I love. Today, author and illustrator Cressida Cowell will teach us how we can create amazing characters and new worlds in our own stories and drawings. Educators and family, be sure to download the free activity plan and additional Flipgrid videos that your students can do after this event to unleash their imagination. So let's get going. Welcome, Cressida Cowell.
Hello, it's lovely to be on Skype in the Classroom.
So great having you here today. If someone hasn't read your books or seen your movie, just tell me what they're about.
Well, How to Train Your Dragon is about a world where dragons really exist. It's a Viking world, and my Viking hero, Hiccup, has to find a dragon and train it because he's going to keep it as a pet. Because I think a dragon would make the best pet ever.
Definitely, that would be. And where did the idea for how to train your dragon come from?
It sounds very unlikely, but it came from something in my own childhood. I grew up in London because my dad worked in London in a house without a garden. But my dad's heart was in the wilderness. He was something called an environmentalist. So what that meant for us as a family was that every year from when I was a baby, we would be dropped off on this uninhabited island off the west coast of Scotland, taken there by a local boatman, dropped off and picked up again 2 weeks later. Okay. And this was an island so small that when you stand on the top of it, you can see sea all around you. There was nothing on the island. There was no houses, there was no supermarkets, no mobile phones back in the 1970s, so absolutely no way of contacting the world. And then from when I was 9, my dad had a house built on the island, and then he got a boat so you can go out and catch fish to eat. And from then on, we spent the whole summer on the island. And that sounds amazing, but this little house, I always say to children, it had no television. Yeah, so there was a whole summer on an island with no television. And this, of course, is the Isle of Burke in the books and the movies, because this was the first place the Vikings came to when they invaded Great Britain. They came to the west coast of Scotland, and it was the last place they lived.
How interesting.
I know.
Yeah.
So once upon a time, real Vikings would have lived on that island, and Vikings believed that dragons really existed. So I started thinking, what if the Vikings were right? Maybe dragons really do exist, and I'd play in the caves and try to imagine what would dragons look like if they really existed.
That's amazing. What an amazing childhood. So tell me a little bit about your creative process when you write your books.
Well, I know I'm writing about Vikings and dragons, but how do I make you feel that this world really exists? And I'm now talking to you guys as writers as well. How do I make these stories feel real? I always say that writing is like telling a really big lie, okay? A real stretcher of a lie. Yeah, the more detail you put into your lie and the more you base it on a tiny grain of truth, the more it comes alive in your reader's head. So this goes for everything about writing. Shut your eyes for a second and shut your eyes out there as well. If I say Gobber had a big red beard, can you see that beard in your head? Sort of. But if I say Gobber has a beard like exploding fireworks or Gobber has a beard like a hedgehog struck by lightning, do you see how you can see the beard a bit more closely? Because I've based it on something you can see or you can touch or you can smell or you can hear.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the 5 senses, so something that is true. There's a posh word for this, which is research, which sounds so boring, but is in fact so exciting. Base your story on things that are true, and even if it's a fantasy, it will make things come alive. So for instance, draw a map. I often say, draw a map of your imaginary place. That will give you an idea for a story. So, for instance, there was a writer called, you know a book called Treasure Island?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And that writer said before he'd even thought of the idea for a story, he drew the map of Treasure Island. And as he drew the map, the pirates came creeping out of the map at him, Long John Silver, his cutlass between his teeth. So, drawing the map gave him the idea for a story. That's making something that isn't true seem true, making the lie feel real. It's a great story starter, and I often go into schools and say, draw a map of your imaginary place and write a story about it. It's a really good...
Yeah, that's
Or
good
you
exercise.
might go onto the computer and look up Vikings, things about Vikings, and then it might give you an idea. You might discover, Vikings discovered America way before Christopher Columbus. And you think, that gives me an idea for one of the books, a story line in one of the books.
I know that you've inspired many kids to create their own characters and use details. Can you show us some of your favorites that kids have shared with you and why you think they work so well?
Oh, I love it when kids send in their own dragons or their own characters. Kids are the most imaginative people in the world.
Yes.
We've got to get them writing. So I love it when you send in your ideas for dragons. And I want to show you how this kid, as she's drawing the dragons, how she's making them come alive by the way that she's drawing them. So here she said, the winter dragon is the breed name. They look like gronkles and they smell like candy floss. Do you see how, by the way she's describing them, she's bringing them alive? Yeah, so think about that when you're doing your drawings or writing about your characters. See how you can make them come alive in your reading.
Yeah, and that's so neat for them to have, because that can spark even other ideas.
Yes, and then they might write their own stories about those characters.
And illustrating them. Here. That's so special. Friendships are also a big part of your stories.
Yeah.
Your main character, Hiccup, is an unlikely hero, and his best friend, Fishlegs, gets bullied quite a bit. But I love how Hiccup relies on the friendship and his intelligence to get him out of sticky situations. So tell us how you think about characters and relationships in your stories.
I mean, he is an unlikely hero, Hiccup. He's trying to be like his dad, but he's not like his dad, is he? His dad is this really tough kind of Viking who's much more about, you know, brawn and about being physical. And Hiccup is kind of small and skinny and very clever. One of the things kids write to me most actually about is about being bullied and the experience. That's a big worry for kids.
Yeah.
And so I cover that a lot in my books. And Hiccup's best friend Fishlegs actually is being bullied a lot, and Hiccup has to stand up against the bullies to defend his friend Fishlegs. And in making that happen, I'm trying to say to kids, if you stand up for your friend in the classroom, you're sort of being a hero right here, right now. Because in the end of the books and in the movies, Hiccup has to stand up against his whole world. The dragons are sort of being captured and enslaved, and Hiccup has to stand up and say, that's wrong, you know, dragons should be wild.
Well, I know we appreciate those stories, and so characters like that kids can look up to and that they can read about, that's an empowering thing for them.
And the kids often write to me and they say, you know, I'm finding it difficult to fit in, and they say Hiccup means a lot to them because he's the kind of hero who's a bit different, but in the end everybody realises that, you know, Hiccup has something to offer. He's something very important to offer in that he's very clever and he thinks his way out of problems.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a great message. I have so many questions for you, but there's lots of kids around the world that have great questions too.
All around the world.
Yeah,
yes.
So let's find out what they're most curious about.
Hi, my name is Boyd and I'm from Malaysia. I love Hiccup and Toothless from How to Train a Dragon. Can you show us how to draw them? Thank you.
Oh, yes, I'll show you how to draw them. OK, everybody out there, maybe get your paper, get your pens, get your colours, and I'll show you how to draw Hiccup and Toothless right now. Are you ready? I'm going to draw Book Toothless and Hiccup magically in the air here. OK, I'm going to start with Toothless. This is Toothless in the book, who's a very naughty little hunting dragon. So as I'm drawing him, I'm thinking about how naughty he is. And sometimes I'm even sort of making a naughty expression as I'm doing it. You see how his eyebrow is going up like that? Because when I'm thinking about that, I'm making him look naughty as I do it. And yeah, he's like a sort of, he's like how you would imagine a dragon would be, just quite a lot smaller, Toothless. He's a bit, I suppose, a bit like a lizard or something like that. But he's also a little bit like a cat. I don't know if you've noticed that in the movies as well. He's a little bit like a cat because he was based on my cats, Lily and Baloo, that I had when I was bringing out my children. And here he is, and he is sitting on Hiccup's head. So here we are. There he is. doing all the spines. Here is Hiccup. Viking helmet here. It's just a triangle for the Viking helmet. And Hiccup is underneath, thinking, oh no, what's he gonna do next? So he's got a slightly worried expression, Hiccup, in this picture. There he is. And then I do some slightly wild marks for Hiccup's waistcoat, fur waistcoat. So there they are, Hiccup and Toothless. That's how to draw them. Well, there you go. Now you know how to draw Hiccup and Toothless.
That was so much fun. All the kids, I'm sure, loved that. I know that I did. And that was a great question from Boyd. Let's hear from another student.
Hello, my name is Molly May. I'm in Year 5 and I live in Wales, UK. And my question today is, what was it like seeing your book become a movie? Thank you.
Oh, that's such a great question. It was amazing. I love the films of How to Train Your Dragon. They're just wonderful. And the third one is out now, so go and catch it. It's just marvellous. I love it because although in some ways the books and the films are different, they're true to the spirit of what I was trying to write about. This is the film, Toothless, and this is the book, Toothless. This one's handmade, by the way. And they're kind of different because in the books, he's kind of small, the hunting dragon Toothless. And in the movies, he's much bigger because that's the thing. Books and films are different things. In a movie, you sort of want your hero to be able to ride on the back of a dragon right from the first movie. In the books, he doesn't ride on the back of the dragon until book 7, I think. So books and films are different things, but they're true to the spirit of the books. And I love film Toothless just as much as I love book Toothless.
Oh, that's wonderful. I want to switch gears for a minute and talk about your new book series, The Wizards of Once. Was it hard after 12 books in the Viking land to say goodbye to Toothless and Hiccup and switch gears and write about new characters who are wizards, witches, and full of magic?
Well, it was because I loved the dragon world. So saying goodbye to something is quite hard, isn't it, if you love the characters? But I suppose what I found out in doing that is endings are sort of just the beginning to another new and glorious adventure. Because I thought, what can I write about that I love as much as I love dragons and How to Train Your Dragon? So I thought up something, magic. I love magic. I love the idea as a kid. I really wanted to be magic. And so I thought I'll write about this world. And I discovered, after I'd been writing it for a bit, that I fell in love with that world just as much as I had done How to Train Your Dragon.
That is so interesting. So what inspired you to write The Wizards of Once?
Well, I started with this idea of a kid who was magic. A kid being magic. And because I always wanted to be... did you want to be magic when you were a kid?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And what magical power would you have?
Probably to be like invisible or to time travel.
Yes. So many great magical powers. You could travel back in time. You could teleport. You could read people's minds. You could have fire coming out of your fingers. Think of all the magical powers that you could have. What magical power would you have? So I started with that idea, being magic, and then I started with an idea of two heroes from two very different worlds who were at war with each other. So I went back in time to the Bronze Ages, 3,000 years ago, when there really were magical things like giants and sprites. The warriors and the wizards are fighting each other in the Bronze Ages. And my girl hero, who's a warrior, meets the boy hero, who's a wizard. And Tsar, the boy hero, has no magic, but he'll do anything to get it. And Wish has a secret, which is she is secretly magic. And it's about what happens when these two heroes meet. And can they see things from each other's point of view?
Oh, I can't wait to read it. So now let's hear from another student, Paige, in the United States.
Hi, Cressida. My name is Paige and I'm in 3rd grade and I'm from the United States. And I struggle on spelling and I am wondering if I can be an author like you. Thank you.
You most certainly can. I'm so glad you asked that question because at the end of the day, writing isn't about your spelling or your handwriting. It's about your ideas. And I don't want a kid who struggles with the spelling and the handwriting but has wonderful ideas to think that they can't be an author. In fact, I've started a new campaign. Who would like this? It's called Free Writing Friday, where you can do this at school, you can do this at home, 15 minutes to have a special book where you can write whatever you want. So you can write stories, you can draw little characters and make up things about them. You can write comic strips. It's all about having fun, though. You've got to write for fun, and no teacher can mark this book. So it's no rules, no marking, just fun. I had a lovely teacher called Miss Mellows in Year 3, Grade 3, and she let me do Free Writing Friday, and I wanted to show you my Free Writing Friday book when I was 9, about your age. And you can see my spelling wasn't very good either. I spelled Cressida, yeah, and the handwriting is a little bit scribbly, but I'm already writing stories about magic. I'm writing stories about magic and I'm drawing pictures of sprites or making up my own fairies and sprites and magical characters. And this is exactly what turned into The Wizards of Once, my later book series, which is all about magic and set in a world really full of magic. And you can see the book. This is my Free Writing Friday book, which turned into The Wizards of Once. I'm still keeping books like this. This is the spelling book. And in here, I wrote all my ideas and started the story. You can see here that the handwriting is really quite scribbly. That doesn't matter. It's about getting out the ideas. And here I'm going through, yes, and I'm beginning to draw pictures of the characters. These are some very scary characters, the witches who are in the books. And these are the wild woods. It's all set in the wild. It's coming to life as I'm drawing it. This is one of the most important characters here. My first drawings, these are my first ever drawings of Wish, who's the wizard who has magical powers in the book. And she's got an eye patch. And even though this is the Bronze Ages, I happen to know Wish is dyslexic, which is the thing where you find spelling difficult. But Wish is the writer in the story. She wonderful. Is the writer. And so that's what I'm trying to say, is that at the end of the day, it's all about your ideas and the magic of creativity. Wish has very, very strong magical powers.
Now I can't really wait to read about Wish. This is wonderful. So do you still write in this book?
Yes, I do. And that's why I say, find a book like this and write all your ideas down.
It's beautiful.
And that's how you build up a world.
Probably one of your prized possessions to have that. That is so great. And now we have one more question.
Okay.
Hello, Mrs. Cressida. My name is Clay and in grade 4 at Youth Academy. I'm from Kenya. My question is, how do you come up with your character?
Ah, what a great question. I often base characters on people I know. So you remember I talked about Wish? She's a little bit like me because I struggled with spelling and handwriting when I was Wish's age. Or a character like Stoic is very like my father. So again, I take true things. I love my father so much, but I wasn't a bit like him. And I put the true feelings that I have, admiring somebody very much, but not being like him, into my books. And then they sort of take on a life of their own. I don't know how it works.
I think that's one of the neatest things, though. I love seeing my students develop their characters and they do it on paper or sometimes even now, you know, on an app or something digital. And it's so neat to see them, though, develop those characters.
And drawing things, drawing a character, you can come up with an idea for a character, but actually drawing it, as you say,
that's
it really brings it to life.
To see them come to life. I love that. Well, those are some really great and thoughtful questions from our kids, and I'm so glad.
Have the best questions.
I know, and I can't wait to go home and share those with my kids in Van Meter too. Are there any final thoughts that you want to leave with us today?
Well, I would just want to say, go out there and write. Just write it and read as well, because it gives you ideas for stories. Oh, and get your mum and dad to read to you, way beyond the age that you can read for yourselves.
Absolutely.
Just 10 minutes a day. Say, read to me, please read to me. Because that gives you ideas for stories. Practice as much as you can, and don't worry too much in some places about the handwriting. Just do it for the fun of it. And go play outside. Play outside. My books are about adventures in the outside, by the sea or in woods, and try and play and then make up stories about those places, those outside places that you
bring your notebook with you.
And bring your notebook with you.
As you go outside.
Happy creating.
I love all of that great advice. Before we end, we want to give you a chance to take a selfie with Cressida. Educators and families, get your cameras ready, and everyone gather around the screen in your classroom or at home. And we'd love to see all of you watching. If your teacher or family members want to post your selfies on Twitter, we'll give you a minute to get set up. Ready? Let's take some selfies. Cressida, I'm going to have you count down for us.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, dragons! I've got so many books, I can't wave.
That was so much fun. We'd love to see your class selfies with Cressida, so please post them on Twitter to #SkypeToLearn. Cressida, thank you so much for being here with us and inspiring the next generation of storytellers like yourself.
Children are the most imaginative people in the world.
They sure are. And I can't wait to take these stories back to my school, and I can't wait to hear and see too online what our kids do with this. Thank you so much for joining us for this global event. Educators, if you love live learning experiences, your students can connect with authors, scientists, and other experts, play Mystery Skype, or go on virtual field trips throughout the entire year through Skype in the classroom. Thank you so much for being here today. Thanks again, Cressida, for teaching us how to build new worlds and spark our imagination. On behalf of Skype in the Classroom, as well as Little Brown Young Readers and our author, Cressida Cowell, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.